Today we're getting into the latest tech EV and Tesla news, and there's a lot to unpack in this episode. We'll be talking about Tesla's temporary sales ban situation in California, major updates surrounding the Model YL and its expansion into Europe with potential implications for the US market, new developments around unsupervised full self-driving testing in California, and some surprisingly massive leaks tied to Apple's long-term product roadmap, including details about a foldable iPhone. There's a lot happening across multiple industries right now, so buckle up. And before we dive in, a special thanks to LastFit for sponsoring today's video and supporting the channel. Let's start things off with a new Tesla app update that quietly rolled out but could have meaningful long-term implications for Tesla owners, especially those using Tesla insurance. Tesla has released app version 4.517. And while the changelog itself is fairly short, most notable addition is the ability for users to dispute their safety score directly within the app. At first glance, this might sound like a small quality-of-life improvement, but in reality, it could fundamentally change how people perceive and interact with Tesla insurance. The safety score is a major component of Tesla insurance in nearly every market where it's available, with California being the main exception due to regulatory limitations. In those active markets, your safety score directly affects how much you pay each month for insurance. Factors like forward collision warnings, hard braking, aggressive turning, unsafe following, and forced autopilot disengagements all feed into this score. Until now, if your safety score dropped for reasons that felt unfair or outside of your control, there wasn't much you could do about it. You were essentially stuck with the consequences. Even if the event was caused by full self-driving behavior, unexpected road conditions, or other drivers acting unpredictably. With this new update, Tesla is introducing the ability to formally dispute safety score events. The app now includes user interface elements for viewing dispute history, selecting reasons for the dispute, and uploading supporting documentation such as dashcam footage. That last part is especially important because Tesla vehicles already record a tremendous amount of driving data. Giving drivers the ability to attach video evidence could make disputes more objective and transparent. At least in theory, it remains to be seen how Tesla will handle these disputes behind the scenes. Will they be reviewed by human analysts, automated systems, or some combination of both? How long will responses take? And most importantly, how often will disputes actually result in score adjustments? These questions will determine whether this feature becomes a meaningful improvement or simply a cosmetic addition. Still, it's hard to deny that this change addresses one of the most common frustrations Tesla insurance users have had over the years. There's also a broader psychological impact to consider. Even if disputes are rarely approved, just knowing that there's a mechanism to challenge a score could make drivers feel more comfortable using Tesla insurance in the first place. Previously, some drivers avoided Tesla insurance altogether because they felt the system was too rigid or unforgiving. This update could soften that perception and encourage more adoption, particularly in competitive insurance markets. For drivers in California, this update is somewhat bittersweet. Because Tesla insurance in California doesn't currently use the safety score to determine rates, many California-based owners either won't see this feature at all or won't benefit from it, in the same way as drivers in other states. Still, it's an interesting sign of where Tesla wants to take its insurance product long-term, especially if regulatory environments change. Another feature that's starting to get more attention comes from the Most, which introduced a refined 3D supercharger site map displayed directly on the vehicle's screen. Tesla has now shared more details about how this system works, and it's one of those features that might seem flashy at first, but actually has real utility. The updated supercharger map now shows high-fidelity 3D vehicle models for cars actively parked and charging at a station. Instead of generic blocks or icons, you can see realistic representations of the Cybertruck, Model 3, Model Y, Model S, and Model X. The Cybertruck in particular stands out due to its angular design and sheer size, making it instantly recognizable on the map. This level of detail helps drivers quickly understand what's happening at a charging site before they even arrive. By searching for a supercharger location and tapping View Site Map, drivers can preview the layout of the station, see which stalls are occupied, and identify potential bottlenecks. The map even highlights blocked stalls, including those occupied by third-party EVs, that may take up multiple spaces due to different charge port locations in practice. This could save drivers time and reduce frustration, especially at busy charging locations during peak travel periods. While Tesla's supercharger network is generally reliable, anyone who's taken a long road trip knows that even a small delay can throw off your schedule. Being able to immediately spot an available and functioning stall as you pull in could make a noticeable difference. Now let's move on to one of the most talked about Tesla vehicles right now, the Model YL. This is a car that has generated a lot of excitement, especially among families and buyers who want more space without jumping all the way up to the much more expensive Model X. Until recently, the Model YL has been exclusive to China, where it debuted as Tesla's first truly affordable three-row SUV with a proper seating layout. The Model YL is a six-seater with captain's chairs in the second row, offering a 2-2-2 configuration, rather than the more compromised fold-down third row found in the standard Model Y. This alone makes it far more practical for adults to sit comfortably in all three rows, which has been a major limitation of Tesla's lineup for years. Now, the big news is that the Model YL has received EU type approval. This is a critical regulatory milestone that clears the vehicle for sale in Europe. The approval was issued by the RDW, the Dutch Vehicle Authority, which plays a key role in vehicle certification across the European Union. Once a vehicle passes this step, it's generally only a matter of time before it launches in the region. The Model YL features an extended wheelbase and longer overall length compared to the standard Model Y, while maintaining the same width. This extra length is what allows for a genuinely usable third row and improved second row comfort. Beyond the structural changes, the Model YL also includes a number of interior upgrades that push it into a more premium category. These include powered armrests, ventilated seats, and a range of adjustable comfort features throughout the cabin in many ways. This version of the Model Y feels like a bridge between the standard Model Y and the Model X. It offers much of the space and practicality that families want, without the dramatic price jump associated with Tesla's flagship SUV. For European buyers in particular, where large family vehicles are in high demand, this could be a very compelling option. Battery and range figures further strengthen the case. According to EU documents, the Model YL will feature an 88.2 kilowatt-hours battery pack and deliver up to 681 kilometers of WLTP range on 19-inch wheels. That's an impressive number for a larger, heavier vehicle with three rows of seating, and it suggests Tesla has optimized efficiency quite well. What's especially interesting is how this EU approval lines up with Tesla's previously stated rollout plans. Elon Musk has suggested in the past that the Model YL wouldn't come to the United States until late 2026. International launches were also expected to follow a similar timeline. However, with EU-type approval now complete, there's growing speculation that Europe could see this vehicle much sooner than anticipated, potentially as early as the first quarter of 2026. This timing would make strategic sense. Tesla has been facing slowing sales in Europe, driven by increased competition, reduced incentives, and broader economic uncertainty. Introducing a highly practical, family-oriented vehicle like the Model YL could help reignite interest in the brand and attract buyers who may have been sitting on the sidelines. If Tesla does accelerate the European rollout, it could also signal a shift in how the company prioritizes markets. Europe has historically been one of Tesla's strongest regions, but competition from legacy automakers and Chinese EV brands has intensified significantly. The Model YL could give Tesla a unique advantage in a segment that isn't yet saturated with compelling electric options. This naturally raises questions about the United States. If the Model YL performs well in Europe and demand exceeds expectations, could Tesla reconsider its U.S. timeline? Regulatory requirements and production constraints will play a role, but market pressure has a way of accelerating decisions. It wouldn't be surprising to see Tesla test the waters in select U.S. markets earlier than originally planned, especially if consumer interest continues to build beyond Tesla. There are also major developments happening in the broader tech world, particularly involving Apple. Recent leaks have revealed substantial details about Apple's long-term product roadmap, and they paint a picture of a company preparing for some of its most significant hardware changes in years. One of the most eye-catching revelations is Apple's work on a foldable iPhone. According to the leaked information, Apple has been exploring multiple foldable form factors, including designs that fold vertically, like a traditional flip phone, and others that fold horizontally into a tablet-like experience. Apple's approach appears to be characteristically cautious, focusing heavily on durability, hinge mechanisms, and display longevity. This is consistent with Apple's tendency to enter new product categories later than competitors. But with a more refined and polished execution, the roadmap leaks also suggest broader changes across Apple's lineup, including updates to iPads, Macs, and wearable devices. Apple seems to be aligning its hardware more closely